And welcome to the Talon Outdoors Show. I'm Charlie.
I'm JD.
I'm Fred.
I'm Captain Paul Tyer.
And I'm Grant.
Fred, is that your attempt to get a low voice? Do a low voice?
I was just being smooth.
Smooth.
Yeah, like I said, you
Like that shirt. That shirt's smooth.
America.
America.
Careful.
Is that one of the?
You can't say that around me.
You got a Trump shirt? Have you bought any of his gold sneakers yet?
I got a pair on order, but I had to get them special made because it's size 7. They didn't carry.
These are not for investment purposes. I don't know who they had to tell that.
Elf size.
Yeah,
Elf size.
They got little curlies on the end of them.
Have you heard those? Have you heard those ads?
That's good.
Oh man, I just want to know who's buying gold Trump shoes. I mean,
I haven't seen them.
For a lot of money, for best I remember. They're not like
It's
cheap.
like $400.
Yeah. That's a lot of money, Fred, for me.
pair- for-
Sorry.
I mean,
must
for
not
what
wear
you
it.
For a
get.
pair of shoes that you ain't never going to wear.
Yeah, but they're gold. I'll
they,
wear them.
Well, they came out with.
I know you would.
The first run was like a limited edition.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about limited editions is they sell real well. They come out with a second run, and now they're not as
all that
limited.
up.
Now they're not all that limited. And they said in this one, these are not for investment purposes. That's to make sure you know.
These ain't going to be worth nothing in about 4 years.
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't win, it ain't gonna be worth nothing. But that'll be like the Elvis plates one day. You know.
Yeah.
I got the Elvis plates.
The Elvis
So-
stamp?
Elvis plates.
Oh, yeah, the one, like the velvet ones.
No,
that's the velvet posters.
what's the company that Franklin Mint?
Yeah,
Franklin
yeah.
Mint limited
There's all
edition.
kind of things.
And you
Oh, yeah.
go around and you got these old ladies that's got, now they wasn't old when they bought them, but they got the little plate racks up on the shelf in the living room.
John Wayne and
you got,
Elvis.
they always have the wood paneling behind
Yep.
it because that's
Gotta
the
have
house.
that.
It's the old house
yeah.
with the wood paneling or the cedar or something. The tongue and groove if you're real high
Yeah.
end.
And then they
And,
got the shag carpet.
And they'll have if it ain't wore completely out, but yeah, they'll have the collector's plates. There's some women out there going, you son of you talk about me.
I like that fish one with a talking Trump bass. I'm the biggest bass in the pond.
big mouth bass.
Big mouth.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know they made one of those.
Yeah, I saw it on Newsmax.
We went to look at a gun collection one time and picked up some John Wayne and Elvis knives. Remember that, JD?
I do.
I got them at the house. And I just, well, you know what? I'll buy these knives to pay cash for them. I get it. You know, the Elvis, I'm not big on the Elvis thing, but I am big on the John Wayne thing. And then, I'm in the vault one day and I showed them to my 12-year-old. There was 11 years old at the time. When I said, "See, son, these knives are da-da-da," and he's like, "Who's that?"
Who?
I'm like, yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Well,
I'd go show him some old Elvis movies or something like that, but he still wouldn't get it. He'd be like, "Yeah, I don't know." It's like it'd be like throwing some Audie Murphy at him or something. He'd be like, "Huh?" You know.
Well, we see commemorative guns in here all the time.
Oh, I imagine.
We get
yeah.
people bringing them in that have inherited them or whatever else, and unfortunately, I have the really crappy job of explaining to them that they're not worth probably as much as as an original plain Jane contemporary of the same time most of the time, unless they are in absolute pristine condition with the box. Never been fired. I mean, it's just one of those things, and you got to have the whole thing. You got to have the box. It's got to be unfired. It's got to be every piece that came with it. We see it all the time. They don't really, when you start looking the values of them up, things that were made to be collectible rarely are. Right. And that's a really good rule of thumb.
Speaking of Elvis,
However, the John Wayne Winchesters do bring pretty good money. So,
yeah, well, that would. I mean, because that has this whole theme.
The whole culture
yeah,
with it. Yeah.
Right,
So the John Wayne lever guns they're one of the more valuable collectibles. But like the Texas, the 150th Texas commemoratives and this, that, and they're just not. I mean, they're basically go shoot it, have fun with it.
Well, see, it's like you go buy a vehicle and you deck it out, fix it up, do all kinds of crazy customization to it.
Never going to get that money.
You're never going to get your money back out of it. You just know you're not going to get that back out. You go, "Hey, man, this thing's right." Yeah, but you know what? Everybody in town knows that's you. Good luck selling that in a small town because everybody knows that's that jerk that makes all the noise with the loud exhaust and has the paint that changes colors when you go by and squatted in the back
It's
and all
called
the bad ideas. That truck ends up sitting in somebody's yard with grass growing, weeds growing up around it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just is, when you build it, know what you're doing. It's not like buying a classic custom car. Now, when I get the money one day, I'm going to get me about a late 60s, early 70s step-side Chevrolet short wheelbase, that's been redone. I don't want to do the redoing, but I want one that's been done. I keep seeing them, but I just can't bring myself to spend the money on it. Now the problem is most of them don't have air conditioning, but I want one. Okay, but I want it to to look like it rolled off the lot. I don't want it to look like
white wall tires.
Do what?
White wall tires and little white.
No, I'm gonna put 1050s in the back and some 70s in the front.
Of course you are. No doubt you are. White spoke rims.
You're right. Absolutely. I want it to look like the one I had when I was 16.
Enough said. If y'all
I'm gonna pull up to the car show and they're gonna go, "What'd you do that for?" And I'm gonna show them the picture of me standing next to mine. It's gonna be the same color.
If you ever wondered whether or not Charlie is a redneck, he just answered that question for you. There you go. That's it.
That was my first truck. My second truck was a 79 Chevy long wheelbase, or 79 Ford F-150 long wheelbase, two-tone brown, had the big heavy molding on the side, stamped aluminum molding. We scrounged up some money to have some custom pinstriping put on the B pillar on it. Just several of us over there did. Well, there was a guy that was doing it, and we thought it was cool. and it had the spoke chrome rims that rusted every time they got wet.
I did not know you had Mexican in your heritage.
It kind of looks a little like it, and we put the saddle seat cover we got out at J.D. Swearingen's on it.
I dig me some saddle blanket seat
Oh,
cover.
absolutely. And then that's the one went spring break a few times on after I'd got back with the Chevy, and that one. And we needed to put put some 35-inch Armstrong tires, which was more like an industrial tread, but it wouldn't fit. So I went and got me some flat 1-inch steel, and I got me some, or actually it was a 2.5-inch tool steel we use for on the tractor implements that you bolt all the implements to. It's this long square tube, and we cut that up, but it wasn't quite big enough, so I took some 1/2-inch wood spacers, and then went down to the Napa and bought some bolts, and we put a body lift on it that was a 1/2 inch of wood and 2.5 inches of steel. Well, the wood helped smooth the ride a little bit. It had a little give to it. So
I'll top that.
And then we put
a
railroad. We had found the front bumper. Scott Phelps over there, he welded. We got a piece of 6-inch tube steel on the front, and we angled that sucker. And I took a disc shaft. The middle of the disc, the solid steel.
Yeah.
And we made a brush guard out of a disc shaft, and we put that big tubing on the front. But I tried to pull somebody out one night, and I snatched the rear bumper off. So we went to Adam Miguel down off Magnolia Road, and he welded. This is just a community effort. And he welded me a piece of railroad track for a rear bumper with some I-beam that welded to the railroad track. And then we notched it out, and then we welded and bolted that to the frame. So we were good. Actually, what happened to the rear bumper was the night I pulled out of McDonald's and the Greyhound bus hit me. That's what happened to the rear bumper. So it's always had a little dent where the bed bumps up and hit the cab, left a little bit of a dent. But that's what the rear bumper went from the Greyhound bus. And they thought I was drunk because all the spray paint cans fell out of the back of the truck, and they were swearing that I was drinking. Beat that, Fred.
You've been huffing. Okay. Yeah. First truck I had.
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah. 1976 Ford F-100.
Oh.
Okay. So got some big old tires on it. Couldn't afford a lift kit, so Dad sends me down to this place in Woodville.
With a lift kit.
And rather than to make the tires fit, we just cut the wheel wells out of there.
Yeah. Well.
So I had these tires that would fit, and of course the wheel wells were always cutting the tires and everything else, and I had a bumper sticker on the back of it that said, "I heart Heine wine." Remember Heine wine?
No, I don't.
And I go to pick up my prom date in this thing, and the only way to the battery cables, couldn't afford those, had to get a hammer to start the thing.
Oh yeah,
and
that.
The girl's dad's out there watching me after I just tried to pin a thing on her spaghetti strap shirt or whatever it was she wearing. Yeah.
We'll be right back. Speaking of Elvis,
I don't know where this is going to go. Forgive me ahead of time.
we can always hit the delete button, Charlie.
It's one of those things that just triggered a memory, and this is back in law school when.
One time in law school?
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot like band camp.
It was, and so my then fiance, now wife, had this. There was some comedy act that came to town. There was a hypnotist.
Okay.
That you could go and he'd grab people out of the audience and hypnotize them, make you do all kind of crazy stuff. I thought it was a bunch of hocus pocus.
Okay.
That can't be right. Well,
It's only for the weak-minded. It only works on the weak-minded.
Well, that's what they said. They said lawyers couldn't be hypnotized. Well, I wasn't a lawyer yet, but I was almost there. And so he gets up there and he starts doing these lights and things and all this. And you don't know that you're hypnotized.
Okay.
But you are. And I got hypnotized. He was, and they can suggest things for you to do, and you do them. You have no inhibitions.
Well, you don't have any inhibitions to start with.
And so
there's that.
So you throw that in there.
Yeah.
This guy convinced me that I was Elvis Presley. And sure enough, I got up there on the mic, and it's, oh, of course, I mean, it was. I had no shame.
Well,
and I mean,
nothing's changed. I don't think he ever unhypnotized you.
I mean, after
So there's
that,
that.
he'd tell you that the guy next to you just farted,
You can smell it.
and you're sitting there going, "Oh my God!" And I mean, and I'm up there hacking.
Now Well, now you just went to the doctor for all that gag reflex thing or whatever you had going on.
Yeah, well, that didn't work.
Well, no, we know the problem now. You have no inhibitions.
Yeah.
Right. Still.
Yeah.
And you every time you think of something gross, you get all pukey.
Oh yeah.
And so he just didn't snap you out of it.
Maybe that's what it is. He'd tell you you're getting hot, and next thing you know, you're sweating. He had this one guy convinced that he was the Lone Ranger, and he was running around looking for Tonto, but couldn't find him. And he's running around with one of these stick horses, running around the whole club, yelling for Tonto. And everybody else is laughing. We're all just sitting there, just like, oh.
We are inviting a hypnotist to go bird hunting
yeah.
with us.
If you
We're going to sneak one in.
If you are a
South
hypnotist
Dakota.
and you would like to go to South Dakota in about a month, reach out.
It's the craziest thing.
850-597-7550. Ask for JD. We have a spot for you.
You're going to have to prove your skills before you go. We got a couple employees around here. But you're going to hypnotize them, make them work,
we
and
can trick them into
just
working.
leave.
And
then just go away.
If we could trick them into working, I'm all for it.
I mean, if I could have learned that skill in college.
No,
You
would have
hypnotize
never.
a whole jury.
I mean, every sorority in town.
No. You crossed the line there.
There it went.
There it went. That was so when we were on the break, you said, I got to tell you a story about the time I thought you said baptized. You said hypnotized. I thought you said baptized. That's the only reason I let you talk.
Muddy water.
Otherwise, I would have said, no, we ain't going to tell this story, because I knew where it was going to go, Fred.
That'd
No,
be
they
some
had
muddy
to do-
water.
Actually, that's pretty funny, though. I can just see you. Now, see, you're already crazy enough. Nobody needed to hypnotize you. If they had just told
you
you,
to
hey,
do it, you'd have probably done it.
do an Elvis imitation, you'd have done it.
Probably.
Yeah, you just did it. You just,
Hey man, pull your pants down and run around the bar. Okay.
Okay.
Well, now, you don't
Let
have to tell
me
me.
get one more drink first.
Need another lid elf. Good.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, yeah, just show me that.
Well, right
waitress
then, he
in South
probably couldn't
Dakota.
afford that lid up. He was probably drinking bar brand stuff.
Cloves.
Taka.
Whatever was
Plastic bottle.
whatever was in the hunch punch size chest over
What do
there.
you call it? Skull vodka?
Skull and Taka. Taka was the one that was
Yeah,
in a big
Taka.
plastic jug.
So I was so the other day I realized, because I talked about I found this vodka, this apple and cinnamon infused vodka that I really liked, and can't get it, so I poured some Tito's vodka in a flask, and then I infused it with apple and cinnamon sticks, so it's got the same flavor, so I don't have to order it somewhere. and we mix it with ginger beer and lime juice, and it's just really, really good drink. And what I realized is most of our mixed cocktails, it's just hunch punch.
When it gets right
That's
down
all
to
it is we're just, you might as well throw some fruit punch in there with some Everclear. I mean, because
get it over with.
it's just a way of making alcohol taste a little bit better, so we can drink alcohol. I mean, because I could get the same thing going out there in the drink cooler and popping a soda or something, or one of those fruity drinks, and it tastes the same. It's just our way to get creative in drinking alcohol. So I'm sitting there going, well, this is it's a apple cinnamon infused vodka. No, it's
sounds
just
a lot
fancy
like
hunch punch.
apple pie moonshine to me.
Yeah, I got some of that in there too. Some of the old smoky stuff.
Oh,
which
you're
is,
talking about legal
still,
stuff. That's no fun.
Yeah, no. I would never admit to anything that was not legal that I might have.
I don't make it, so if it shows up, I might drink it, but I don't make it. So that's all that matters.
Oh, when I was in Bahamas last week, we went on one of these cruises where they gave you a bunch of rum punch and it kept flowing the whole time.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
Man, let me tell you.
That's extremely dangerous.
We had somebody show up at the class reunion the other night with a mason jar, and didn't drink anything out of it themselves.
That's always.
But was just passing it around. I smelled it, and I'm like, that smells illegal to me. I ain't touching it.
Smells like corn squeezins. Yeah,
so, I think he poured. I'm sure he poured illegal alcohol in that mason jar just to pass it off, because I have no evidence to the contrary. But no, I didn't.
I don't ask those questions when somebody passes something. I just like thank you, but I
I'll tell you that rum punch. I had a very intimate relationship with a sea turtle by the end of the day.
Yeah, named it. You name it and everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I named him George.
So speaking of intoxication, this whole marijuana amendment.
That is.
I've been watching. I watched sheriffs on both sides of this discussion, and I have looked and read the verbiage of the amendment. Mm-hmm. And it is very clearly written by the medical marijuana establishment. It was written that way because it says medical marijuana organizations can cultivate, can produce, can make. They can create marijuana products. They can market them. They can sell them. No one else can.
That's right.
Now, there is a caveat in there for other state licensed organizations to be able to do it. But I was talking to a guy not long ago that runs
Big weed.
No,
my bad.
So I was talking to a guy at a smoke shop, and he says, yeah, we're hoping we'll be able to. I said, are you licensed by the state Department of Health, anything like that? He goes, well, no. I said, you're not going. You're out. I mean, why would they come to you for anything? You cannot grow weed at your house. If this passes, you still can't grow marijuana.
Well, you can. You'd be breaking the law.
You'd be breaking the law, but who's going to enforce any marijuana laws going forward? There's no way to know what's. I mean, I think it was Grady Judd came out against it because of the fact that it's just going to put a lot of money in certain people's pockets. Now,
precisely,
the legislature can pass laws that would free it up. They won't be able to restrict it anymore, but they could free it up and then make it easier for people to get licenses. But that's the racket right there. That's the racket. How do you get a license? And you've got to be a multi-millionaire in order to get your foot in the door.
Well, you got to have a lobbyist.
You got to have a lobbyist. You got to have all that stuff. It has to be organized. So for those of you out there that are thinking, well, they're going to pass this, and I'm going to grow my own. You can't.
Nope.
You can still be arrested. Yep. That's like the same thing with making your own moonshine or making your own out. There's only so much you can do, and so much. Now I don't see law enforcement going after some guy that's got a couple of marijuana plants on his back porch, but they can, and law enforcement can use that as a tool, Fred,
sure,
to get in do other things because
Absolutely.
You're doing something just outside the law.
Absolutely.
And so okay, whether you like legal weed or not, I don't want to smell it. I mean, somebody eats a gummy with some weed in it. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't want to smell it, but I don't like smelling cigarettes either.
Well, I mean, think of it this way: if you're looking at this, look at the cities that have legalized this stuff, Colorado, places like that. Mm-hmm. Has productivity increased or decreased?
Have Dorito sales increased or decreased?
Well, if you're in the snack food
I want to
industry,
be in.
you can.
I want to be in the Dorito business.
It kind of makes you wonder what Kamala's doing when she's eating all them Doritos.
Yeah. And they've got it to where you can only possess, I think it's 3 ounces for
No,
personal.
it's a pie. If
If it's concentrated, it's like 3 grams, or it's.
no, I looked at the amendment and ran the numbers on it. It's enough to roll about 270 joints.
For personal
That's the
possession.
amount you can possess.
Okay. Good Lord.
Well, that'll last you for a day or two.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
I know a guy might last.
but you
3
can't
days.
sell it neither. You can't sell. You can't like go and get some and sell it to your friend.
No, you
That's
can't
still
do that.
trafficking.
That is.
That's still going to be a felony, isn't
It's
it?
still felony.
See, and so everybody's think. Here's what's going to happen: is they're going to pass this constitutional amendment. They got 6 months, I think, for the legislature to figure out how to enact it. I think it said that they have up to 6 months.
They're creating a legal monopoly, is what they're doing, because it's going to be.
Well, that's another question.
But why else would these organizations have gone out and spent all this? Because you won't need medical marijuana anymore if they pass it.
No.
And these companies wouldn't have spent millions upon millions of dollars supporting this amendment had they not figured out a way to write in a way for them to keep all their money. Because who needs medical marijuana when you can just go buy it down at the local store? So they have to say, well, you can only buy it from us. And so they're going to pass these laws, and the legislature, being a Republican legislature and Republican governor, is going to do everything they can to restrict it as much as they can, which is going to keep the money in the hands of these few people.
All you got to do is look at the money behind it.
Yes, sir.
and,
It's
and-
old big weed.
And it's truly.
I'm pretty sure it's.
I
I'm pretty
mean,
sure it's for the
90% of their country are truly and for the people.
Yeah.
people. And the sheriffs that are backing it are looking at it and they're going.
The sheriffs that are backing it is grown in their county.
Yeah, that is true.
Yep.
We'll be right back. And we're back. JD was just talking about what I'm going to be doing this weekend.
Drunk, fed, and entertained.
It was on the break.
No, I was talking about on the break that all of this stuff is not happening in a vacuum. The whole let's get everybody intoxicated on something all the time. Lack of productivity. This has happened before in history numerous times. Especially you look back at all the way back to the Romans. They control the citizenry, and the controlling parties did exactly whatever they wanted to do. But they did it by keeping the citizenry drunk, fed, and entertained.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
Free wine, free bread. Go watch people kill each other in the
So-
Coliseum.
And then
So-
they
Have a good
polluted
time.
their money with
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, they made it impure and inflation.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
And look what happened.
They cut chunks out of their coins. They chipped the coins. They put lead slugs in there. They did all of the things that we're seeing a modern iteration of right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, you got we're this segment on the show is airs only in Dothan or on our podcast, and I think it's appropriate to mention the fact that we've been going to Alabama to buy fireworks forever. Well, now you folks in Alabama, y'all come down here to Florida and buy weed if this thing passes. You come down here and buy it legal. You just can't take it back. You take it back, you'd be in trouble.
And
But,
they never would do that in Alabama.
Yeah, they would.
yeah.
So
The thing is if I ride around like Dothan, Alabama, I don't smell a lot of weed. But I go to Tallahassee, Florida,
You smell
and
a
it
lot
just
of weed.
reeks of it.
Yeah.
And it's because medical marijuana passed down here. And
you
while
can get it if you stub your toe.
Well,
But you don't have to smoke it. There's ways to take that stuff. You don't have to
just
smoke it.
driving around-
Buy you
just-
a gummy and eat that. And then you
Just
get
driving around town, it's almost every time and I try not to go to town, what I call town. I go to Bradfordville. I don't go to Tallahassee when I go to town.
It's almost a town now.
Right.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
it is. That's why I like living up there.
You got everything you need?
You got everything I need right there. But going to town, without fail, you're going to get behind a car that is just, you can smell the car. You get behind the car and it's like, so you're having the number of impaired driver crashes.
Yeah, that's got to go up.
It's
DUIs,
gone through
DUI
the
or-
roof.
But it's harder.
It's hard to detect.
It's hard to detect. You need a drug recognition expert. There's not a way you can just get a urine or I don't know.
There's not a legal limit for weed.
Yeah, and there's no legal
Yeah.
legal parameters.
Mr.
to
DUI
how
attorney.
high is too
Yeah,
high.
how does that
So
work?
so if you get somebody charged as that's been charged and they have to have had, if it's driving under the influence and they blew zero,
Sure.
and so it was weed or drugs, it takes a
what they
drug
say.
recognition expert.
Yeah,
right?
you're gonna
and
have-
even
well-
that's hard.
Yeah, well, he's going to come in and testify the guy's impaired. And I can cross-examine that, obviously. But in order to get, you could show the presence of cannabis in somebody's system.
But it could have been 4 days ago.
Right. Stays in the system up to 30 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get a level of because it's going to be different for every person.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just like it is for alcohol. There's
Sure.
a lot of people that
Yeah,
walk
but
around
it's-
every day with a
it's
point
even
of
more. It's even. Well, I mean, hell, I could. Yeah. But you could. You can see some people that have been like stoners for their entire life.
Yeah.
Like my lead guitar player. I mean, it actually makes him better. And then you got people.
A 16-year-old kid that smoked his first blunt. That,
Yeah, and he's gone.
Yeah.
But the level is going to be different for everybody, and it's much more prolific with THC than it is with alcohol, because they've done studies to say, okay, at a 0.08, this guy's presumptively impaired,
Right.
That sort of thing. Now you got people that are not impaired at 0.08.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got functional alcoholics that, if they're not close to that, they can't function anyway.
they got the
shake. They seem to be fine.
But there is no science to determine what a legal limit. Nobody studied that. There's no NHTSA study.
But there's no roadside test. There's nothing that
Yeah.
you can really it's going to change. It's going to make keeping impaired drivers off the road really. Now, but they're already there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're already there. All right, so it's not.
It's just going to increase the number.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so we've got a special event of the breaks in
Special,
here.
huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
The not like your kind of special, Fred.
All right.
We have an event coming up. I want to remind everybody on October the 15th. That's coming up Tuesday. That's the day after Indigenous People or Columbus Day, depending on which one you choose to recognize. So this coming Tuesday from 6, this is Eastern Standard Time. This is fast time for JD. 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Manual Baptist Church. 23, I can't read that thing, 2351 Mahan Drive. That's inside Capitol Circle on Mahan on the south side of the road.
Between Phillips Road and Riggins Road on Mahan.
Yeah.
If that gives you some, not next to the temple, Jewish temple
Yeah.
there.
So, and now it's open to everyone that wants to come. If you want to call the office, you can register. But man, if it's this late in the game, you hear this, just go. Just show up. There's plenty of room. There's a couple 100+ people pre-registered already, but they got room for 3 times that in the center. So now we got Stephen Williford, who's been on our show.
Yep.
who
Yeah, that
was-
guy's a neat. He's
Yeah.
a neat guy.
Hero.
Yep.
I hope he tells his story.
Well, that's why he's coming, is
Okay.
to tell the story and talk about church safety. This is a church safety workshop, but it also has a lot to do with active shooter stuff and all as well. So it's not just for people who wanted to do the church thing. It can also be anyone who's concerned with their personal safety or active shooter events. I took the Right to Bear is sponsoring this thing. Now, I went over this last week to the other side of Pensacola, in their Gulf Shores, I think it is. It's between Mobile and Pensacola. And went to a little gun range called Styx River
Yeah, I just
Gun
sent
range. Yeah.
I just sent a gun over there for transfer.
Did you?
Somebody, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I went over there and I taught this same workshop. I taught church safety they had about 20 people came in their gun store. They got a nice little gun store over there, a nice range. They got two trap stations, 2 skeet stations, and they've got handgun and pistol and stuff too. And the funny thing is the owners are Charlie and Donna. And I walked in, I went, "Hey, I'm Charlie," and Donna, my wife's Donna too. And so it was kind of a. But anyway, I got to teach this PowerPoint. It's the first time I've taught this curriculum per se, And it's pretty good curriculum. I think they're going to have their instructor teaching this one and working with Mr. Williford. And it's going to be a really cool event. Certainly, it doesn't cost you anything to go. You are going to hear about Right to Bear's church safety team protection. Their legal plan is $180 a year per person. They're waiving some stuff. You get all kinds of really, everything from bail bonds to weapon replacement and psychological care after the use of force and all this stuff. So anyway, it's folks, you really need to go if you're interested in this sort of thing. Normally you see these things in very small groups, but this is going to be a cool one because it's going to have Stephen there.
Yeah, I mean, to meet that guy that's worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah,
You just like him because you're the same height. Y'all can see
I
eye
know.
to eye.
I mean, I felt it. I felt like I could be a hero
kindred
too.
spirit.
Yeah. I mean,
grow you a gray goatee and get you a black cowboy hat and take
that-
your shoes off and you fit right in with him.
might.
I say that because when he left his house and ran down to that church with that AR-15 to stop
didn't have
that
no
shooting,
shoes
he
on.
went barefooted.
He did.
He got his priority right. He got some ammunition, a rifle, and took off and didn't even bother to put his shoes on because his friends were getting killed and he could hear it happening.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a thing. But we've had bad stuff happen in this town. I'll never forget one of Tallahassee police officer leaving his house, grabbing an AR and shooting somebody that murdered one of our friends in his cul-de-sac. I mean, this happens. It happens, and so anyway, that's going to be a cool event. I'll be there. It's not my night to be there, but I'm gonna come just for this particular thing because it'd be cool to see Stephen again. And anyway,
I'll be there too.
Yeah.
I'm going too. That's where I go to church.
We'll just kind of meet and greet. Somebody might want to see the. You
I'm gonna
guys
sit over
come.
there.
Y'all
Somebody
come.
asked-
Well, everybody can be there, and then y'all can just come in and see everybody on the show.
Maybe we'll
That's
all
right.
Come on,
I'll
Fred.
be there. Bringing
No,
some
you-
people from church up there, too.
What is it?
Are
It's
you? Good
Tuesday.
for you.
This coming Tuesday.
Yep, this coming Tuesday.
You
evening.
going?
Yes, sir.
I guess I need to go.
Just don't
probably good.
bring
Grant going?
Don't bring a drink. This Baptist church.
You'll see.
Don't
Not
bring
Catholic church.
Yeah, they frown on Baptists will
Well,
not. The Baptists will not speak to each other when they pass in the aisle at the liquor store. They don't even look at each other.
You know why they don't make love standing up? Somebody might think they're dancing.
All
It
right.
ain't that bad.
Well, the
Hey, while we're on the subject of upcoming things,
Okay, what's that?
My son is involved in this at the bank with Prime Meridian is one of the sponsors. But Saturday, October 26th, the Building Industry Association of the Big Bend is doing a fishing tournament. It's a saltwater tournament. It's sheephead, redfish, and speckled trout tournament. $60 per angler. You can fish out of a boat. I guess you can fish off the hill if you want to, or out of a kayak. But it's October 26th. To register, you go to biabb.org.
is there any way?
biabb.org.
Is there any other way to fish? A boat, a kayak, or off the bank?
I mean, you fish off a bridge too, I guess. But
Could
yeah,
you
I don't.
wait? Could you wade in the flats?
I'm
and
reading
catch
the thing, and it
I'm
says
just
boats or
saying.
kayaks, but I assume you can fish off the hill if you want to.
You might be
time is
able to
that
wade
thing?
out there off the lighthouse.
See what, Fred?
What time's that thing?
It's October 26th. They
No,
are,
no, not that one.
Oh.
The other one.
6 o'clock. You know, we give all this to you after the show, Fred.
I'm
It's
putting
just-
it on the calendar.
Oh my Lord!
I don't want, if I don't
Folks,
put it on
I
the calendar,
apologize. I
I don't-
apologize.
fishing tournament like we were talking about before we were so rudely interrupted by Fred's calendar is they're paying out $6,000 in cash payout. So if you like the redfish, trout, flats fish, that might be
Yeah,
worth going. It's
yeah.
third annual. I don't know if
You
that's the fourth one.
can even drive down from up in the wiregrass and come on down and fish
Yeah.
too. Because pretty much if you're going saltwater fish, you got to drive through Florida anyway. Might as well come to this one.
Well, you'll-
Where's
or
this?
go-
Where's this at?
Out of St. Mark's, Shields Marina.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, at least
Weigh
it's-
in,
at least it's
weigh
still
in
there.
party from 2 to 4 p.m. Fred, I mean,
Well,
party
show
to
up
party,
for
so
the
we don't have to
weigh-in.
go fish.
Yeah. I go to the party.
said
So how'd you do today? Not much. I didn't catch anything.
3
Did you
Budweisers
even
and a
go
Wood
out?
Elf.
Nope. I hang out at the boat landing and watch people.
That's always
That's
fun.
all.
I do
Oh,
that
yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, the fort down there at St. Mark's is a great place to go sit down in a lawn
if
chair.
you want to see some,
Just go sit in the lawn chair
Oh,
with a
man, it's-
cooler.
yeah, I mean-
Especially on Labor Day or holiday weekend.
oh yeah.
Somebody might just
Somebody might
back their truck
see if
into
their
the river.
Somebody might try to see if their F-250 will float.
You got that.
They don't. They don't float very long. Let me just say that.
Yeah, just I can't talk about it.
Okay. We'll hush then.
All right, then. All right, then.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad to see some of the polling kind of coming back around a little bit. I think
I'm feeling
Trump's
good.
kind of getting a little bit of a rebound effect right now
It feels like
Kamala
that.
can't seem to put together a cohesive thought, and then that guy she picked for vice president is
Talk about a-
just run. And
about a
you got
girly
even
man.
Biden. You got Biden campaigning against her now. 'Cause
Yeah.
he doesn't know any better. He's like scheduling things at the same time and saying, "Oh yeah, she's been a vital part of all this," and
Yeah.
she's trying to go.
Oh,
"Oh, no way!
no,
Oh, hey,
I didn't even know anything about that.
I didn't. I was the last person in the room, but I don't know anything. So yes, I was important, but no, it's not. And yes, our administration, but it wasn't me, and I didn't have to. And the people that are, I mean, get it. I guess if you don't like Donald Trump and you just can't stand him, and your hatred for him is so bad that you're willing to run
Burn the country down.
into a dumpster, yeah, turn it into a dumpster fire. I guess you could vote for. But you
It
know,
happens. It happens in
it-
politics all the time.
Lord
We're going
help
to burn it down. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we is us, right?
Yeah.
What was that old expression? Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. You know, that's
Yeah.
we're heading downhill. Let's just keep on keeping on.
I mean, Don Quixote did charge at windmills.
Yeah, well, that's where we're going. I saw a book that I'm actually going to buy online. It was by some Navy SEAL or something, and one of the things he talks about is how to hide all your stuff from FEMA and what to do when they, you know. And I'm like, you know, I'm interested to see what he's got to say. I'm gonna buy his book just to.
What's
just
the name
to
of the
read.
book?
I'll tell you after the break here in just a minute
want that
because
book.
I can't remember what it was.
I got stuff to hide.
But
Yes, we know.
and we're back. So yeah, I got everybody drooling in here. I just said I got a
That
bag
was
of
not
oysters.
nice. That was
I
not,
got a
that
bag
was
of
not-
oysters.
That was absolutely.
Well, I
just
was running
really
a little. I was going to throw it on the truck.
That was
on the
completely
tailgate.
uncool for you to
Yeah.
say that right before. That.
So for the class reunion last week, I found I was getting some ice at McCoy's, and they said, "Oh, well, we can't sell you ice because we're only selling that with the oysters." I said, "Wait, what?" And they said, "Well, you can't get a bucket of ice because we're only letting that go with the oysters." And then she said, "Oh, wait, because I went in, I need 5 buckets of ice for this event." And she goes, "Oh, wait, you get this for a church, don't you? You can have it then." And I went,
Yeah, that's what it's for.
and I said,
Yeah.
and my response,
Yeah,
my
the-
response was, "Well, that's not what I said, but okay." So they were getting the ice, and I
Yeah.
said, "Wait a minute, let's back up a minute. You
It's
said
from my
oysters,
wife,
so
Morgan
how
Fetch
fresh are the
House.
oysters?" She goes, "Well, they just came in yesterday." And I said, "Well, are they salty?" And she goes, "Yeah, but you could try one." I said, "Well, I'm down for that." So I went around there and walked up in the cooler. I felt like I was doing a drug deal. The guy like hands me one. He's looking like somebody's coming. I'm over there. Now this is the thing: is somebody hands you an oyster and a knife you've never handled before, it is now a test of your manhood or your womanhood if you're a woman. But
Your
you know,
oyster
this
suckerhood.
is your redneck test right here. Can you open that oyster? And so I popped that thing open and tasted it. I'm like, yeah, just throw one of those bags in that cooler. I go in there and pay for it because you need to bring your receipt. I said, I'm gonna pay for it. Just let me go get it. And so we ate those, and it's fun because this relates to fishing, Paul. We're getting to fishing. We'll get there in a minute. And so I got into it's seafood. So I had a friend of mine that graduated with, brought her husband down from another state, and he's over there, and I didn't get to see him eat the first 2 or 3 oysters. I'm gonna have to take his word for it. But what I did see is a oyster shucking faux pas. But what happens is you get an oyster, Now, if
can't
I get an
open-
oyster that I can't open, I'm going to wait till nobody's looking and toss it back in the ice chest and get me one I can. But he's over there, and he's done whittled out the whole hinge of that thing down to where it looked like a skeleton, 2 knuckles down there. And I'm like, man, you want me to do that? No, I already opened some. I'm like, yep, I'm sure. And at that point, I'm sitting there watching him. I said, you know what? I'm making him nervous. I think he's got performance anxiety.
That's like me
over here
working
with
on a
the-
gun and
with
somebody
the
looking
oyster.
over my shoulder.
That's like me on the back porch.
So I turned around and went away, and I think at some point in time he ate that oyster. But it was so anyway. I went by there to pick up some bird feed, and
Hey,
I
man.
said, by the way, did y'all get the guys coming out of the oyster cooler? I'm like, hey man, you got some oysters? He goes, yeah. I said, how long they been here? And he goes, I don't know. I've only worked here for like 5 days. I said, that doesn't mean you don't know how long the oyster's been here. So he gets on the radio and goes, hey, how long the oyster's been here? Well, they just came in an hour ago from Louisiana. I went, I want a bag.
Yeah.
Now, it's a 30-pound bag, which I don't know how, that ain't but a handful of dozens. It's not a lot of oysters anymore, and it's $50.
That's enough to make me angry.
But they were salty, and so they are in. And I took them home. I ate about 2 dozen, and the rest of them are sitting there waiting for me to get home today.
Man.
I almost threw them in the back of the car and brought them over here.
We
and
could have
I
been
was
shucking
running
oysters
late.
the whole time.
Yeah.
I was running late, and I just didn't have the time, man. I'm
It's
sorry.
just, it's a thoughtless thing you did there.
It's all about Charlie. You ain't
It
figured
is
that out
all
yet?
about him. Right.
So there's an oyster subculture that I call my mama and I go, hey, they got oysters down here at McCoy's. And she goes, oh really? Are they good? Are they salty? Yeah. So when did they come in? I don't know. So where did they come?
Ask all the right
Where did they
questions.
come from? And I told that kid down there, I said, son, this is the deal. When people come in here looking for oysters, you got to learn something real quick. You need to know where they came from, how long they've been here. Are they salty? I said, if you kiss, that's people gonna want to know, and because everybody wants to know where are they from. You know,
Oh, yeah, you can't sit at an oyster bar and not hear that.
yeah, where are these from? And now these are just from generic Louisiana, so they're not from and they're wild. They're not they're not cultivated.
These farm-raised oysters are not bad.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not.
They're good.
Oh, yeah.
And you're more likely to get them from closer here if you get because there are oyster cultivation organizations. And they're a little more uniform. Now these are pretty good size. They're all gone by the time y'all listen to this. They've sold out. So
Unless they get another shipment in.
I may go get the last of them. But anyway, sorry. Let me take up the fishing thing. Y'all were talking about fishing on the break.
Like I said. How about the fishing pole?
I tell you what, it's been good. I brought some baits that's been working.
Hey, like that lead in. How
And I'm
about
gonna try to
how about the
explain
daggum
this
fishing?
bait that's been.
Oh,
How about this? Now,
a buzz
on
bait
the
with a
radio,
paddle
this
tail.
is a buzz bait with a
It's got a weight on it.
paddle tail minnow.
paddle tail minnow because the bass are chasing shad right now.
Oh, they are.
It's that time of year.
Hold that up to the camera.
This cooler weather has
Look at that.
has really got the bass
That's
frisky.
all kind of shiny and noisy.
Yes, sir. That thing's been working. And
a big-
another
that thing's huge.
bait that's been working
So where you? Oh,
because the
you,
shad right now are big.
where you
a
throwing
lot of
it?
gizzard shad are moving shallow.
You throwing it at lily pads or?
Actually, throwing that over grass beds. The grass on Lake Seminole, really, the last couple of weeks, the lake's been real high, higher than normal.
Okay, so
And the water's muddy,
and they're in
the
the grass?
fish have moved up in the grass because you have about 6 to 10 inches of water above the grass with some shoots coming all the way to the surface. And bringing this bait,
So you just go right through the grass.
right over the top of it. You
Over
make a
top.
long cast with it, and when they come up and blow up on that thing, it has been aggressive. It's been fun. I've had 4 or 5 trips in the last week, and we've caught over 70 bass. 12 of them were over 5 pounds, and 2 of them were over 8 pounds. And this is one of the baits we were catching some of the big ones on. And a frog. Remember I showed you the frog, and also a
Oh,
crankbait
I love
right
those
now.
things.
Hybrid hunter.
Hybrid hunter. This bait here is very unique. It's a crankbait, but it's more like I call it a 4-wheel drive bait. You can throw this thing over the top of that shallow grass, reel it down, let it hit the grass, and it floats up fast.
Is that the way you do it?
Yes, sir. On braided line, and it's got this rattle in it.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear that. It really has been productive the last couple
You don't
of
put a
weeks.
leader on it.
No leader. And also, remember the old regular rattle traps? Mm-hmm. That's been working. You know, this year the grass is not as high or as grown out as deep as much on Lake
Hydrilla
Seminole.
or pepper
Hydrilla.
grass?
I'm talking about hydrilla.
Okay.
Yeah, these baits are kind of hard to go through pepper
Oh, yeah.
grass.
That one sinks.
Those leaves wrap around the blade, so you really want to throw it over hydrilla. But man, that has been working too.
Now that one sinks.
Stop and go retrieve. That's right. That sinks. Just
So,
falls down like this.
So how do you,
High speed reel.
it's a high-speed reel. You just keep it
7-to-1 gear ratio reel, 7-foot medium heavy rod.
All right, so no bumping. You
just kind of popping it through the grass, and when it pops out of the grass,
What'll
that's when they
happen,
hit
Fred, if it sinks down and those treble hooks will hang into the hydrilla?
Yeah.
You give it a rip with the rod and start it going again, and that's a lot of times
That's
when
when
you'll
they'll
get
hit
that.
it. That's
you'll
exactly
get that
when they hit
wham.
it. But that has
Okay.
really been productive right now. And this weather's so nice to be outdoors. You got
yeah.
doesn't gun season open next weekend in Georgia?
Yeah.
For deer?
This weekend today is youth weekend.
Youth
so
weekend.
yes,
That's right.
I thought muzzle is next weekend in Georgia.
maybe, I don't know, but youth is this weekend. I think youth and muzzleloader at the same time. I'm not sure. I got to look at the calendar. But deer season's here.
Yeah.
Man, I got up and went outside this morning and scratched the ground. I mean,
yeah.
I
it's
tell you
nice.
what, it is nice
We're
outside.
gonna have some high
Time to start
40s.
wearing them
high
sweatshirts
40s over
again.
the
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm
I'm
digging it.
planting. I'm planting the rest of my food plots and stuff this weekend. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're putting a fire in the outside fireplace tonight, having the grandkids over, eating some
Well,
chili.
me and you're going somewhere tomorrow, ain't we?
Yeah, we're going dove hunting.
Huh?
Yeah, where are y'all going?
Southwind.
Oh boy, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. I went up there with somebody else a few weeks ago, and it was good. I'm excited about it.
This front, I think, is going to bring it in.
I think it might. I think we might get the first early migratory
Should start
birds.
seeing some
Yeah.
ducks down pretty soon.
I saw a duck in Lake Talon this morning on my way.
Lake Talon.
The big pond down there by
Not
the
open for
competition base. Well, it is for me.
Okay.
My pond.
I do have a
There was
question.
some teal in our lake this morning.
Really?
Out there, and I was going down the interstate, looked at there, and I'm like, looky there.
Well, when y'all dove hunt, what gauge shotguns do y'all use?
I'm bringing a 12 this time.
I shoot a 12.
Do you shoot 12?
Usually I shoot a 20, but I'm not playing. This is the last
It's last weekend of
last
first
weekend.
phase.
Yeah.
You're gonna
And
bring them home.
If I got to bring one of those Bartles and James cut out to somebody else, stick them in there in the blind so I can get 2 limits, I'm going to do that.
He's kidding.
Well,
He's kidding, folks. He's just
For a
kidding.
small
Just
fee,
kidding.
no, you can't sell wildlife. Never mind, Fred. I was thinking I got a good mess in the freezer already, but it's funny. The girls in the house don't eat them. Me and my mama, on the other hand,
I'll fight you over a dove.
Yeah, me and my mama can mess up a limited dove between the two of us. So
Yeah, my wife doesn't like them. That's fine. Sit over and eat the chicken.
that's what we say to everybody else in the house. Y'all had all that fried chicken you want. I'm right here.
Yeah, you can't beat a dove. That's just my favorite bird to eat.
That's not my. I'm more of a quail guy.
I know you like quail,
but I ain't gonna turn my nose up.
I got
to the
about
dove.
1,000 quail in a pen right now, just waiting for something to do.
You got 990 because I took a trip over there yesterday. I just didn't tell you about it. I knew you were in Dothan.
I had 4 or 5 left over from last year, about a dozen left over from last year that hatched out some chicks in the bird pen. I was just hanging on to them for training birds and looked over and they got chicks.
Cool.
Well, whatever.
You
All right, well, that's it. See y'all next time.